So good morning, good evening, everyone. So this is Major Himanshu, and we do have um, the meeting today, this presentation on the series of events that we've been hosting. And with that, the format of this presentation today will be that 30 minutes. We'll have ma'am speak on the topic, and then we'll take questions from the audience so that she can educate and answer us individually. And with that, ma'am, over to you. Kamlesh, ma'am, please, if you can hear me.
Okay, I'm there, but it's not showing up. Namaste, everyone. And today's attendance, I should congratulate those who did not, who are not absent because of Christmas. So even if it is not our Tyohar festival, still most of the people, slavishly and by habit start doing, Christmas presents and everything, the whole charade. Anyway, today we are going to see how the power was transferred from the British to the to Indians, actually to the Congress Party, and the arrangements according to which the partition took place. So going to that, there is again, there will be one very clear note in all these slides, and that is that there was total confusion as far as the Congress was concerned. The only person who had some kind of plan, actually not some kind, he had full plan that he submitted to the government, British government, that this is how things should be. So we'll deal with that. So now the whole thing comes back to 1935. You see, that act is very important. And though I am not able to give you all the details, because that will be by itself one session, the best thing is that if you have the book, read the details, because that is what is going to determine the demography, the reservation schemes later on, and the electorate distribution, representation in the parliament, a whole lot of stuff is just based on this 1935 Act. So the thing that is in brief, that they understood and they recognized and they accepted that there will be always communal franchise based on religion, basically at that time Muslims and the rest. And then they also decided that there will be communal electorates, that which are the very predominantly majority Muslims, and they'll be on top of that, there will be weightage for that. So not only that there will be communal franchise, but the nomination of the candidates from the minority or the Muslim community will be based on their demographic. So weighted. Weighted means that if there is 50% for the Hindus, 50% is for the Muslims. Weighted. That means that they count about half the population. It is not stated implicitly at that time, but partition became non-negotiable. By 1940, it was completely clear that partition has to take place, because this is the premise on which the things are going to move. whether interrupted by World War II or Quit India movement or any kind of things going on, those extraneous circumstances did not alter the fact that the partition was non-negotiable as far as the British were concerned, as far as the Muslims are concerned. And if one is in a denial mode, well, that is not only you are denying the obvious fact and the indicators, you are also deprived, implanting that deniability that it won't happen against all evidence. You are depriving you're confusing the population, Hindus, unpreparedness in denial. Now comes the main thing, the Mountbatten Plan. So, Jinnah, of course, made 14 points, but Mountbatten made it clearly that this is the objective and the provisions will be drawn according to this. The first is that partition will happen, Bengal and Punjab. After that, during the transfer of power, while the adjustments are done around the boundary lines, the power will be transferred under in the dominion status kind of thing, where Mountbatten will be still the governor or the whatever designation they wanted to give, and there will be in the partition countries, they will be autonomous countries. Now, we have already arrived at the point in 1947 where we are already admitting that both countries will be sovereign. Now, they can make their own constitution, of course. This is where the whole British maneuvering and manipulation came. The right of the princely states to either join Pakistan or India. Now, this is very important. Provinces could become, the third option was, provinces could become separate nation and not belong to any other countries, which means neither in Pakistan nor. Now imagine how many kingdoms are there at that time. There were 560 small kingdoms. Most of them were landlocked. This I'll come a little later. Then they constituted the Constitution Assembly to draw the Constitution of India. And which were the people represented in that? Prime Minister would be Nehru over Patel, and on the negotiation table or in the Constitution Assembly, the key leaders. Sardar Patel was there. Jayaprakash Narayan was kind of not playing a role. Shama Prasad Mukherjee was not playing a role. Rajinder Prasad was there off and on. So on the negotiation table, when Mountbatten's plan was thrashed out, all of these people were absent. So who was present? Patel was there most of the time, and Nehru was the person. And at that point, all of these people sacrifices were Lala Lajpat Rai, Bhagat Singh, Udham Singh. They did not matter. And Netaji was alive, but in the minds of the people, he was already killed. Now, Jinnah and Mountbatten, each thought when they were negotiating and thrashing out the plan, 1947 plan, each thought that we are outmaneuvering the other in their agenda. Jinnah thought, I am winning, and Mountbatten thought, I am going to outmaneuver him. And you see how the mind of the Muslim works and how the British thought, because they were working for their interest. They wanted their feet in here. And they wanted to weaken India to such an extent, fragment it, that the Congress party will come with folded hands that please come back, we cannot handle it. So this was in their mind. Plus, they wanted to have the key places under them. And they also thought that Jinnah would eventually think that we should be aligned with the British. So he will be in the grip of Mountbatten. That is why Mountbatten tilted in favor of Muslims. So these are the underhand, shadowy games being played, and it requires a certain kind of diplomacy, certain kind of vision, direction, clarity, and more importantly, you should know the geography of the country. It was amazing that Nehru did not know the geography of the country, and he did not know the geography of Kashmir kingdom, and he did not know about the 200 years of history, at least 200 years of history of Kashmir. So these things are extremely important, and most people do not focus on that where did we go wrong? We went wrong about 40 years back, 30 years back. And Jinnah's plan was that we leave the Muslim states as they are, and they will be naturally with us. And Muslims will, if they want, they will stay in Delhi and all the places if they want. And they will have the eggs and the omelette at the same time. Ambedkar's plan was very clear. Ambedkar said that understandably that you have agreed. Everybody now think that partition is inevitable. So Ambedkar said, now let's see how the transfer is going to take place, transfer of power. So the key component is that this is the borders. These are the borders from north to south, and here is the border. How are the people going to cross? Who is going to receive them? Can they bring movable property? How much can they bring? Can they bring, how will they be compensated for immovable property? And how much jewelry they can bring? You see, all these, who will be taking care of bringing them if they don't have any conveyance? And not everybody has tagas or horse-driven carriages, and very few had cars. So you see, this is where the practicality comes. Okay, we are agreeing that there will be mass movement or limited movement. And Gandhi said there won't be any movement. Now, that is the fun part. He said there won't be any. Jinnah, brother, probably you saw the today's introductory page, flyer. They are both, sideways hugging each other, as if, they're brothers, and nothing is wrong with the world. So Ambedkar's plan is very long, and it looks after every single detail. What was Nehru doing? He was quiet onlooker, leaving Mountbatten to act for India's well-being. And occasionally they will exchange smiles, Mountbatten giving a reassurance in the smile that I am looking after you. And Nehru appreciating that he is my friend. In the game of politics and geopolitics, there is no such thing as friendship. People are allies or they are enemies, or sometimes they are neutral, which is very rare. So Nehru plays foul because he laps up everything that the British offered. For example, One of the things offered was that the states which have uh, uh, Hindu majority, but the king is Muslim, that principality will go to Pakistan, even though the majority of the population is Hindu, like Hyderabad. Then, if the population is equal or slightly more in favor of the Muslims, but the king is Hindu, then automatically it will go to Pakistan because the population is uh, majority. So these are kind of thinking that was going on in different parties. And Nehru says that okay, we'll bring in Sheikh Abdullah also in the picture at some point. At that time, Sheikh Abdullah was in prison, and so now what was Gandhi thinking? Besides agreeing with this with Jinnah on this point, that either way, whether the population is Muslim or the king is Muslim, it will go to Pakistan. Plus, Gandhi pledged to look after the Muslim. He gave his words to Jinnah that no matter what happens, Muslims will be safe. And they were. Not only they were safe, and they were like royal guests living in India, as if, this is their country. And Maulana Azad did hint in one of the letters that, Jinnah, you are a fool. You are satisfied with one little chunk. I will make sure that the entire country becomes a Muslim Sultanate again. This is one of the letters written in 1942 or around that time. And you see, people don't read, and probably Nehru did not even know about it. But this letter is mentioned by the British. So now, what is the fate of refugees if nobody followed Ambedkar's plan? And Gandhi came out giving false hopes to Hindus that Jinnah has given me the word, and we vowed that Hindus will be safe there, Muslims will be safe here. He kept the bargain more than anything, and he betrayed the Hindus in false hope that you will be safe there. Many Hindu families leaving the burning cities amid the stench of blood and shrill screams. Now, this part, I'm an eyewitness to. I was there watching from the top of the terrace, our terrace, the cities in the distance burning. From Amritsar, Lahore is about 16 miles away. And some places from our place was 8 miles away. From Batala, it is 8 miles away, the border. And across that, the cities were burning. In fact, the places where which remained in India after the boundary was drawn and accepted, even those were burning, because Muslims, when they left, they were burning the city, their homes. And we would see as if, it is some kind of fireworks going on. So how did my relatives left? And coming back to this false hope, I have given anecdotes, harrowing experiences, some of the people who are still living. And I'm just going to narrate one. Our own maternal family, the women and children left, and they went to Haridwar. There are a lot of inns, and they could rent also. And some of the men came, my uncles, to check out any kind of place where they could make a home for the joint family. So they were parked for 6 months, And that is a very, very good thing. At least they could bring some of the valuables, hoping that they will someday go back. And uh, one day, Mahatma Gandhi came and everybody was very happy. He went to that place, Hari Ki Paudi, where most people take a bath in the morning. So children, women, all of them, and some men. One of the gentlemen, he used to live in our area. He has just moved out. He lived in Bannu. Now, imagine the geography of United India. Bannu is the last railway station in the northwest frontier. After that, Afghanistan starts, and uh, before the boundary line, there is no railway. So that is the last stop. So Mr. Kapur, he happens to be Kapur, and he said that myself and my mother, we came to Haridwar. My father remained there, and eventually he was coming back too. And Gandhi said that, please go back, Jinnah will look after you. Okay. And most people listened and did not obey. Some were unfortunate. And Mr. Kapur says that we left for Bannu. And when we left for Bannu, the Ikka, there was something, a horse-drawn small carriage, only two people could sit. So he was a small child, about 14 years old. And he sat with the mother, and there was a curtain around. That is how women used to travel in before partition in Ikka. And they were going in Bannu. And everybody was staring, who is that? But they thought the driver is Muslim, so these are Muslim people. And he said that after they reached there, father questioned that, why are you here? You should be in a safe place. The city is burning. And gated communities, if the gatekeeper is a Muslim person and militia is there and Muslim police is there, who is going to protect you? So they decided that we should go back. On the 10th of January, the train coming from Bannu, that was burnt completely. So as a result, the train service was stopped from Bannu. Now they are stuck. Till March 1948, he says that we were living like hidden people. The Muslim servant would bring us groceries, and that we never stepped out of the house. And with the help of some people, eventually when the train service started, and by the time Gandhi was gone, Jinnah was gone, immaterial, the damage was done. So that is how he left and how they were given hope. And now our family, the last persons, when they came, my granduncle, and they came by car provided by the military. And 6-7 people were crammed into that. And near Ludhiana, on way to Simla, Lahore to Simla, near Ludhiana, one of my aunts, she gave birth to a child. And then they were stuck there. So this is the story after story. Some of the people have captured it. One of them wrote a book, Train to Amritsar. And like that, and many people who were my neighbors here or in New York, they gave me anecdotes. I have included them sometimes in their own language sometimes, and there was so much confusion that people did not know that when you have to transfer from one train to another for a connection, where are you getting? By mistake, are you going to go in the same direction from where you came? And that is what happened to, nearly happened to my husband's family. Now, these people were supposed to, were coming from Montgomery, and hurriedly, first of all, they thought they are government servants, what difference does it make? The government changes, it changes. But then somebody advised that no, you should have to get out. And they were sneaked out by the friend. And when they changed the train hurriedly, because they didn't have to change the train, but they had to, because there was suddenly a rumor that this train is going to be murdered. So they got out in a hurry on the platform, and whatever was the train standing there, they got into that, not knowing if it is going backward or forward. Luckily, it went towards Firozpur. So these, I have recorded these harrowing experiences. And as far as the arrangement of for the refugees was concerned, there was corruption. Now, this point I have brought in because if anybody says that corruption had not started, it did start. Because Birla said to Gandhi that please provide me the government contract for providing the blankets for the refugees. And the blankets were the size of the kind of blankets which are put on the horses and so under the saddle. Those blankets are supplied. Now, how an adult can cover himself, and remember, it is Punjab and it is winter. And 1947, September, October, all of these are very wintry months. So if anybody says that Gandhi was not corrupt, he was not only corrupt, he was not truthful at all. So apostle. Okay. So this is a poem. I thought that people, I put it in the book also. Neeraj wrote this poem much later, and it is in a film, but I took it because it gives the exact idea what was going on. Yeah, the next door neighbor, Muslim, he warned the Hindu in Lahore, that is also one of the friends. He said that Mr. Sani, you will be killed tomorrow, and I'm going to kill. He says, what? Because I'm going to be shouting Allahu Akbar at 12 o'clock. After that, anybody will come and kill you. I'm warning you. What kind of warning is that? What is he going to do? Okay. So that is why I wrote it. Swapna, those of you who know Hindi, Swapna jhade phool se, meet chuhe shool se. Meet. They were friends, sharing food together. लुट गए श्रृंगार सभी बाग के बबूल से, और हम खड़े खड़े बाहर देखते रहे, कारवां गुजर गया गुबार देखते रहे. It means, for those of you who do not understand, doubtful, it means that like withered flowers, dreams are gone, and the friends, they pricked us like thorns, and all our ornaments and everything that one can think of good, everything was gone, just as we are in the babool garden. Babool has thorns and no flowers, not much. And We were standing there, caravans were going, and we were looking at the dust kicked by them. So this is what it means, and it really sums up very well what I saw. Some people children were lost. I remember in our neighborhood, one childless couple adopted a child missing from the car, not knowing if he's Muslim, she's Muslim, or she's Hindu. It doesn't matter. Child is a child. And now Nehru as Prime Minister.
Ma'am, before you continue, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but we are at the 30 minutes mark, so would request if we can close in next couple minutes, and then we will start taking questions from the
I'll
audience.
finish in 3 minutes.
Okay, sure, thank you.
He became the Prime Minister, and he was after that he was so jittery that he may not perform because he was nincompoop, incompetent. So Mountbatten, he requested Mountbatten that you continue as Governor General and also the Chief of Defense and Defense Minister. So this point is also very key to what happened in Kashmir and what happened thereafter. Mountbatten had power to intervene in the bloodshed. He did not exercise that power. That is how much friend he was. So Gandhi and the principalities, I have already said, Jinnah was really happy. And these states were, along many others, hundreds of them, were affected. And I left one point, the confusion about Red Cliff boundary line. In the book, in the bibliography, I have given the small link, a link for 9 minutes of Radcliffe's voice itself, what he said. I don't know how they recorded. So there was a confusion about the Radcliffe, whether it is going to include Lahore or whether it will include Amritsar, where will it pass? Because along with the rivers, it was supposed to pass. And rivers go in a wayward way. Sometimes it is very difficult to decide by a layperson what is going to happen to us. Okay. Having said that, I am done. And if you have any question, let's go on with that.
So thank you so much, ma'am, for, as usual, a wonderful rendition of your research. And with that, I'm going through the comments and would also invite the participants to please make a comment, ask questions from the esteemed author that we have in the panel today. So one of the comments that we have is from Naresh Sagalji, who says one of the many motivations that British had to create two nations was that both will be at loggerheads, and one will give them a foothold in case of a future war with Russia. So the question is, why Gandhi or Nehru did not see through it? And if I may add, did they see through it and did not act? That also is a possibility, but over to you, ma'am, for your comment, please.
Why did not see through it?
Yes, Gandhi, why did Gandhi or Nehru did not see?
Yeah, Gandhi was living in the bubble of his own non-violence and brotherhood and Hindu-Muslim brotherhood. So, I mean, he couldn't care less. He couldn't see anything in front of his eyes because he didn't want to see. And Nehru did not know anything about anything, except that he wanted to be the first prime minister. And besides, he had implicit faith in Mountbatten. I don't understand how can a man be your friend if you are dating his wife. I did not write it in the book, but I don't understand how that person will become your friend. And Mountbatten, every question that was necessary to be clarified, he did not ask Nehru or Gandhi. He went to Churchill. even though he was not the prime minister at that time. So, and that is where the loyalties are. So if you don't know your own competence and knowledge and your own identity, and you are living in a fool's paradise, then you cannot see anything anyway. And in spite of the fact that outside it is daylight, sunshine, and if you keep saying that no, it is darkness, then what are you going to say? These are, there is a word my father used to use, fact-resistant human beings. There's a species called fact-resistant ignorant humans. Did I answer the question?
Yes. Okay. Yes, you did. Thank you.
They did not want to see it. So,
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, Nilesh. Haven't seen any other question yet, okay, I see a hand raised by Dr. Sharma. So over to you, sir, please.
Yes, thank you. I have one comment and then a question. My father was in Lahore and he was 21 at that time, left Lahore on the 13th of August, 1947, and had hard time leaving. So this is true that a lot of Hindus who lived in Lahore at that time didn't even know whether it was a good idea to live in Lahore or to leave Lahore. So that's a comment. So question I have, if a lot of intellectuals of Hindu origin knew what Nehru and Gandhi were up to, how come the media houses, that was newspaper at that time only, did not publish anything against Gandhi and Nehru?
then you are fooled to the point that you have created the whole nation and they are considering Mahatma. Till this day, we are living by that cult, that what Gandhi ji, you see, Mahatma, Gandhi ji said is gospel. Gandhi ji assured us. He is looking after. If you put all your eggs in only one basket and that crashes, you crash. And then also, as I said, that they were persuaded to go back. You see, not only they fooled and lied, manipulated, they downright said, go back. So,
I have another question. Rangila Jasoos was already published, and the Muslim who killed the publisher of Rangila Jasoos was kind of pardoned by Mahatma Gandhi or Gandhi, and Gandhi never tried to protect Bhagat Singh. So all the Hindus knew what Gandhi was up to. How come no one took any action?
Yeah, this is really a good point. Yeah, this was, this Shraddhanand was killed of Arya Samaj for Shuddhikaran of Muslims. And Gandhi not only condemned the murder, he actually congratulated the guy that he is my brother. And, sometimes your sensitivities are hurt. You see, this kind of nonsense. And most of the stuff, Hindus, even today in India, they are not readers. Except for a few pockets, we do not have readers. People were drunk with those who were well off. They were happy that the British are there. In fact, my grandfather, my granduncle, they said what was wrong with living in Pakistan. And that is why they were dragged out in military tracks at the last moment, after the partition. So they fooled everybody. And Nehru was nowhere in the 20s. If you listen to the last 6 sessions, Nehru was nowhere in the picture doing anything except towing the line of Gandhi, because he knew that Gandhi is going to make him prime minister after that. So you see, you can fool people. And if 20 or 30% of the population is still being fooled that they are not going to touch the book by 20 feet pole, and they hate me for writing this. You think at that time they were, what newspaper? Newspaper said what the British wanted to say. So even though two newspapers were started by Hindus, but still nobody read. Even today, people read the headline and it goes in the garbage. So we are in a way casual people because we were slaves. And we, anybody who gave us hope of freedom or a good life, he is avatar. You see? So this is, those people, I would not say they were fools, they were ignorant and they were kept in the darkness very tightly. And they wanted to believe in what they wanted to believe. So it is not their fault. So when this Rangila Rasool, that was the name of the book. I have a copy of that in PDF. Not only the writer was killed, but the press was burned up. I don't know how some copies were still there and somebody put it in, converted it in PDF and it is available. Please read it. And this is how their sensitivities are. And you think Gandhi didn't know? His ashram was important, his charkha was important, some or other nonsense was always important. And his own obsession with women. So, and he was 75 plus at that. So you see, situations are such that during emergency of Indira Gandhi, you think the world knew about it. And when Gandhi was killed, what followed after that, the repercussions on Brahmins, how many were killed overnight and then in 2.5 days, the nation's newspaper did not publish. The only newspaper that published it the very next morning was Washington Post. I have a copy of that headline that so many people died in Maharashtra after Gandhi's Congress did that to punish them. So you see, channels of communications are not like now. Somebody will forward the message and it will go to 10,000 people in seconds. Newspapers were owned by the British, or there was censorship, or mostly we are always, to some extent, we believe in somebody else will come and rescue us. Avatar. We are waiting for avatar. Even today, I think they are waiting for some kind of miracle to happen. So that is your answer. No communication. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. So I don't see any other question yet, and the audience is requested either to raise hand and speak out, or in case somebody has a question, the chat's open for me to take the question to ma'am. And if not, let me interject with one observation and then a question. I heard, ma'am, you say that in one of the communications, which is available or was available with the British, was it? And I'm just trying to recall if you said that that Maulana Abul Kalam pointed to making India the Sultanate or the Muslim Sultanate. And if that be so, how come he continued to occupy a position of political primacy even after independence? Was he simply ignored again because of Gandhi, or were there other forces which were beyond Gandhi, which were making sure that this religious fanatical element or the mindset continues to occupy an important position post-independence?
Yeah, actually, your question is very interesting. That this particular letter that I am talking about, it was a private letter from Abdul Kalam Azad to Jinnah. It was not in the public domain. It became later on, I don't know how they got the access to that. And these were some British, the American writers. They composed a book which was called Sources of Hinduism, Hindu traditions, yes. And they gave a prominent place to Maulana Azad. So I read it in a different context, and in that letter was not public, and it was not written by the Congress or with the approval of the Congress. It was a private letter that you are a fool, that you are asking for a small little thing. And this was when he was the president of Congress Party in 1942. This is in a different kind of book where I got. And since it's a private letter.
Got it. Thank you, ma'am.
It also has a reference in the book which he published and said that it will come out 20 years after my death.
I see.
Yeah.
Thank you for that explanation. And then I see Pradeep ji raising his hand. So Pradeep ji, if you want to write in, please by all means. And if you want to speak, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, my question is that Hindus were in a very sizable numbers in West Punjab and Sindh, and I will say not less even in East Bengal. And they knew the situation that partition was going to happen and Muslims were going to betray them, and they had been actually betraying them. So why they didn't prepare for any fight, or they didn't defend themselves? Their caravans were attacked, their trains were burned. So it looks pretty strange to see that things are going to happen to you and you didn't prepare anything. I lived in UP. I'm from UP. But my father always taught me, you have to watch Muslims. They are very deceitful people, and you have to be prepared for them. We always kept weapons in our houses because my house was pretty close to a Muslim neighbor. So I don't know why Punjab being a border state, I believed people should have been more prepared for such situations. And the partition says that there was no preparation at all. Yeah. Hindus were massacred, 5 million, I believe that was the number. So such a big number, was massacred without any significant resistance. That just, doesn't sound good. Yeah.
No, the question, you are doubting the sensibilities of the Hindus or preparedness. If you are constantly drilled, if non-violence is constantly drilled into you, A, you are not prepared. B, if you rely on somebody else to save you, then you are not prepared. You see, that is the second point. The third point is that how many Hindus have ever held a sword or seen a sword in a close?
Yeah. In my house, we kept,
weapon-bearing people, even today, Sikhs, they had kirpans, right? And in one village, they knew that the Muslims are coming, and so they gathered all the women in one room, and then they were prepared with the swords, right? And in the neighboring villages, they came to know that they can hide in the next village. So they all came to Sardar Kartar Singh's house, and he has written an anecdote. But of course, they all died. One of his relations who survived and wrote. All the women killed themselves. And then the men were killed by the Muslims. So Hindus did come, and the Sikh community did have some weapon. But then, what is if the mob comes, what is the 1%, 2%, 10% to do when there are only 3 swords?
So,
The same thing happened in Kashmir. So even when we were all alive.
Yeah, my actually question again, remains unanswered because as I was saying, the number of Hindus, and I will include Sikh as well at that time, were at least 35% in West Punjab that time. That number is not a small number, and numbers many times give strength. So even if your sticks breaks stones, probably can defend yourself, and that didn't happen. That was surprising for me as I study history. That was surprising.
Don't be surprised. Just understand the Hindu psyche. Even today, how many people will come to your rescue? Whereas the Sikhs will gather with all their karfans against any government decision. And how many Hindus will come together? Yes.
Next I think, Auntie, you raise a very good point. If I may add one more thing. My uncle, who was 15-year-old at Partition, later on was with the Archaeological Survey. He's no more. But one of the things he told me was Hindu as a religion, all our gods, if you look at it, right, Lord Shiva, even our, all the Lakshmi, they all have different kind of weapons in their hand, around their neck, a snake or whatever, right? And when people go to temple, somehow there is a feeling that somebody will take care of us. Whereas if you look at a Christian God, right, today's Christmas, and it's no fact lost that, most churches will show Christ hanging almost helplessly, right, without a sword or any weapon. So I think Hindu as a religion for centuries, thousands of years, when we were being attacked by Muslims, Muhammad Ghazni, this, that, we were always going and praying in temple to the God to rescue us instead of, thinking we'll do it ourselves. I think there is some fundamental thing where by having our gods showing with weapons gives us this reassurance that somebody else is going to take care of us, which is not the fact. And I think this is the situation today also, as you pointed out, right? Today also, if India is under attack from China or within India, there are some communities which attack the others. How many people are prepared to go and fight till they die and sacrifice their life for the nation? Very, very few.
Okay. Now, some clarification. That business about depending on God, and in this case on Mahatma or Swami said this. This is the Bhakti cult that developed after 1000 AD. Prior to that, because of the Varnashram Dharma, right? Everybody minded their own business, and only the Kshatriyas used to fight. The rules of the game among Hindus was very different. You see, Kshatriya alone were wearing weapons, and nobody cared about the farmers. The first time the farmers were killed, that was by Alexander. Again, that is a foreign force. And Hindus were surprised because nobody ever killed a Brahmin or a teacher or a farmer or a manufacturer, trader. So it was only the Kshatriyas who used to fight. So name of the game is different. Whereas we are a cosmic alignment with cosmic reality, and that is called dharma, right? Cosmic law. And we believe in that and we go by that. But those are man-made religions, and they believe that they created a God, man-made God, in the image of a man, and they are aggressively promoting it. Plus, it is always a fight for resources. What started as the British rule was actually economic resources, East India Company. And the same with the plunderers who came, they heard about the riches of India, and they were coming for looting. And this is exactly what they did, except that some remained for conversions because Allah says that. Whereas you see, our dharma, don't use the word Hinduism and don't ever use the word religion. We did not create it. We don't know who created it. If you tell me somebody is the founder of Hinduism, because ism definitely means somebody created, then let us meet that person or his descendants and find out what is in his mind so that we can make a creation. You see, that is not how Hindu dharma is. Dharma is different. So dharma does not say that you Brahman should wear weapons, except when they are the teachers in warfare. Only then, like Vishwamitra and Parshuram and some of them. But otherwise, because of the Varanashram dharma, each was minding his own business. And when the kings used to fight up to 1000 AD, Chalukyas and the Pandyas and constantly Rajasthan, they were always fighting in a forest or desert places. You see, where the rest of the population is not affected. Women are not affected, children, the farmers, the manufacturers. Life goes on. Some of the foreigners before the birth of Islam came, like Huns from China, they were also not converting anybody because they were themselves Pan-Asian dharma, culture. So they came and people were, kings changed. And this is very important to notice that when the kings changed, like Kanishka came from Gobi deserts and beyond, so nobody questioned. He was a sun worshipper. He made many temples. He became Buddhist later on. Some of them, they say. The point is this, that the rules of warfare were different. Rules of traditional dharma are different. Those who do not believe in that, and you don't know their mindset, you're gone. You cannot imagine everybody in your own image, not in this day and age. Right? So,
Okay, ma'am. And since we are at the end of the meeting time, and I do see Dr. Sharma's hand getting raised, so we'll take that as the last comment or question. So over to you, Dr. Sharma, please. You'll have to unmute yourself, please.
Sorry.
Yeah, please go ahead.
unmute करिए अपने आप.
I don't know. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay,
Yes,
good.
we can hear you.
So I have a big favor to ask. Can I have a phone number of the speaker? I'm based in New York. Is it possible?
You can have my email privately from Rajiv.
Sure, I will. Okay.
I don't mind giving. In fact, that is the best way of communicating.
Okay.
Commenting, adding to knowledge. Why not?
Yeah, some famous person said, sitting across the table with an intelligent person is better than reading 10 books.
I doubt that. I don't believe in that. I believe looking at the book and verifying it. So I'm a different kind of researcher. But of course, clarity comes when you are talking to somebody. I think
right.
I'm becoming a little better after starting these sessions than when I wrote the book. So clarity does come.
Yes. Okay, so I'll wait for the email.
Yeah, the email is very simple. You ask Rajiv Verma, he will.
I will.
You have the email of this organization, Rajiv Verma. Okay,
I'll find out.
I'll give you Kamlesh K at cox.net.
At what?
Cox, C-O-X.
Cox, cox.net.
C-O-X.net.
Okay, thank you.
Because so much junk mail also comes. So,
Yep. So
that is
it
why
is-
I am reluctant. But in any case, the point is right that if on social media groups they have your telephone number, what's the harm? The only thing is that sometimes you don't pick up the telephone because you don't know who is calling. So email is fine.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm 400 miles away from you. So there cannot be a cross the table conference.
Listen, I can always travel and come to you.
Yeah. Whereas I cannot. I am that old. I don't do traveling now.
It was nice listening to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kamleshji and Dr. Sharma. So, and Dr. Sharma, we do have the email ID, and for everyone else who would like to have it, it's there in the chat, available with everyone. And I know that Pradeepji, you had raised your hand, but I'm sorry, but we have run out of time today. We would certainly be open to taking more questions and discussions. It was great hearing you, Pradeepji, then Dr. Sharma and Nareshji, an absolutely pleasure to host you, Kamleshji. So today we'll wind up here.